Hi, this is Makona Spokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. I want to start a topic today that speaks about how to build trust with other people, how to build trust with others. And that's part one that we're dealing with today. And I hope this will help you as a young man to believe that you need to build trust with people. And when you build trust with people and people trust you, you become therefore gain favor with people. And people then start loving you, they start supporting you in all that you're going through, because it is very important, therefore, to understand that you need to gain favor with people. But when people are going to favor you, they need to be trusting you. So how do you then gain trust with people as a young man? And that's what we're dealing with today, and we're dealing with part one of this great topic. And I want to start with honor your commitments if you want people to trust you. Honor your commitments. This is very important because many times we find people that commit but yet don't honor their commitments. People that promise but yet don't honor their promises. And this is one thing that will actually discredit you in a big way. And many people have actually developed to be untrustworthy. And many people have actually been seen as people that you cannot trust based on making promises and not deliver on them. This is very important. And I must emphasize that when you make commitments, don't make commitments emotionally, because sometimes you make commitments emotionally. You didn't actually sort of plan and calculate and check also your availability and ability and capacity of how you can do it. We have seen people that accept invitations emotionally. Just because somebody invites you, you're quick to say, yes, I will be there, which is a commitment that people take, because immediately you promise somebody, it becomes therefore a commitment to them. And I must emphasize that when you therefore have committed yourself to something, make sure that you honor your commitment. There are times when we promise people as young men that we will support them. You've spoken, excited, I will support you, I'll do that for you. And at the end of the day, when you start to comprehend, or you start to realize that you've promised people, you start actually having cold feet towards your commitment. How many times you've promised people money? How many times you've promised people to take them to school? How many times you've taken people to do things for them? Your own parents as well as a young man. How many times you've promised them things that you'll do? How many times you've committed that you will do some chores in the house as a young man? How many times you've promised that you will actually do things for your parents? But that becomes very key, because immediately you say it with your mouth, you're sealing it, because it's a commitment for those people. Expect that to be done. So this is very important. Now, when you want to build trust with others, you must make sure that those commitments that you've made, you do fulfill them. And you do honor them. And I must also emphasize that many people commit and not actually write down, not actually put reminders down to remind them, and as a result, after committing, you forget. I must really say that it is dangerous when you do so, because people are not going to trust you anymore. The fact that you forgot is not their issue. It is your issue when you say, I forgot, because according to them, you've committed, you've made up your mind, you said you will be there, you said you will come, but it's very important to make sure that you don't just only promise, but you promise and be able to follow through and do that. So therefore, I advise you as a young man that if you make commitments with people, rather write them down, rather diarize them and put them in your calendar, so that there may be some reminders as well that will remind you to be able to fulfill those commitments. Because if you don't honor your commitments, therefore you cannot expect respect from other people. And I'm emphasizing that because this is a make or break thing. And many people have actually failed to fulfill their commitments, yet they are surprised why they are not trusted by people. People can only trust you when you speak things and you do, and when you say something and you do, when you act everything that you say you are, and not only promise people and not do. As some of you as a young man, you're members of certain clubs, you're members of certain societies, you're members of groups of people. You've committed therefore to them. So if you've committed to them, therefore make sure that you honor the commitments. If the people are having a meeting, those that you are part of them in your commitment of being part of their club, so when they've got a meeting, therefore, because you've committed, that automatically then makes you obliged to fulfill or honor your commitment. That's the only time that people are going to trust you. And as a young man, I want to emphasize that when you start to learn to honor your commitments at a younger age, you're basically going to be a man of integrity, you're going to be a man of character, and you're going to develop certain credentials that people will trust you. And you will have an image that people honor as well, because people honor somebody who's able to keep and fulfill their commitments. Somebody who's able to honor their commitments. Because whatever you have committed to, therefore people expect you to honor that commitment, and please do so as a young man, because that's the only way it is going to help you to become somebody of integrity. The other thing that you need to do as a young man, if you want to build trust with many people, communicate properly. And this is very important. And I'm saying this because it's close to my heart. That if you don't communicate, people cannot trust you. You need to communicate. Sometimes communicate if you're running out of time and you're supposed to be meeting somebody somewhere. If somebody's waiting for you somewhere, you've got an appointment and you're running late, but yet you don't communicate, you're basically making those people not to trust you. And I'm emphasizing this because it's very important that you understand that immediately you start communicating properly, you're building a prestigious way of how people look at you. And people start honoring you. People start believing in what you're doing. So people start believing in you as well. And they start trusting everything that you do, because they know when you say something, you'll exactly do that particular thing. So communicate, update people of what is happening, so that people can be patient with you and maybe understanding as well in what you're doing. Communicate properly. Like for instance, if you're having your own friends and you communicated properly your weaknesses and your failures, whenever you fail, you don't disappoint them, because they want to know that they are knowing that this is an area of development from you. They're not expecting much from you based on who you are, based on where you are, based on how you behave. It's very, very important that we emphasize that therefore, because you have communicated to them your weaknesses, you have communicated to them your strengths as well, that will actually set you up properly. It will make you actually to be at a space where people expect you to be valuable, because you have already told them and communicated it properly. Now, in many relationships, you'll realize that the biggest thing in relationship is communication. And many relationships are growing by proper communication, but many relationships have actually also been destroyed because of lack of communication. So communicate properly as a young man. You'll realize that you'll build the trust of others in you. And when people trust you, then they trust you based on the communication, that you properly communicate to them. And they know exactly your whereabouts. They know what you're doing. They know how you would react in certain places. They would know how you would behave. They know what to expect from you, because you're properly communicated to them. So proper communication, therefore, is very key. And I must really say that many relationships and many trusts have been broken because of lack of commitment, because of lack of communication. And we've seen in loved ones, we've seen in families, and I want to emphasize as a young man as well, take care of your own family by communicating properly with them. Make sure that you take care of your own spouse by communicating clearly with them, your children as well. Let them be aware of how you feel. Let them be aware of what you expect from them. Let them be aware of things that you like, those that don't you like. When you communicate properly, therefore, people start trusting you, because they know that this one, when you've said something, you're basically going to be fulfilling that because you communicate properly and they understand exactly what you're talking about. I want to end up here today your host, Maikona Spogani. Thank you very much for being part of this great topic and be part of what we're speaking about. And tomorrow we'll deal with part 2 of this great topic, building trust with others. May the good Lord bless you. And remember that we've got a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it under Maikona Spogani. Make sure that you also subscribe or like our page, Young Men Empowerment Forum. Like our page, Maikona Spogani as well. This is where you will get to these teachings and you will learn out of them. May the good Lord bless you. Allow me to say cheers for now.